Ford announced the resurrection of the Bronco 3 years ago at the 2017 Detroit Auto Show. The business is now preparing to unveil the reborn iconic 4x4 legend. What are you waiting for? Join us as we take you through everything you need to know about the reborn 4x4 legend. While you're waiting for the big announcement, it's worth taking a trip down memory lane with the Ford Bronco. Let's take it one generation at a time. 1966 to 1977 Ford Bronco breaks new ground. In early 1964, the first generation Ford Bronco was authorized for manufacturing. Its structure was unusual in that no other vehicle in the Ford family used its small 92-inch wheelbase. It was designed to compete with vehicles such as the Jeep CJ5 and the International Harvester Scout. The only engine available for the Bronco was a 2.8-liter i6, with four-wheel drive as standard. The first-generation Bronco's design was straightforward, with flat glass panels and convenient sheet metal shapes to keep costs down. It was offered in 3 body types, including the standard 2-door form, as well as more unusual varieties such as an open-top roadster. These bodies, however, were later abandoned to suit the most popular 2-door wagon style. Throughout its existence, sales averaged between 14,000 and 25,000 copies each year. Well, this first model was kind of cool. But what's now the essence of making a second generation? Let's check out the next generation. 1978 to 1979, Ford Bronco grows up. Ford's response to the Chevrolet K5 Blazer and Jeep Cherokee was the second-generation Bronco. The 1978 Bronco gained a whole foot in wheelbase, as well as 11 inches in width and 4 inches in height. Since the last Bronco is without independent front suspension, a Dana 44 solid front axle and a Ford 9-inch rear axle were used. Under the trunk of the second-generation Bronco were 2 V8 engines. Both a 5.8-liter and 6.6-liter V8s generated approximately the same amount of horsepower, which are 156 and 158. But the 6.6-liter had more torque, 277 pound-feet, than the smaller V8, 262 pound-per-feet. In 1979, both models received a catalytic converter, which reduced horsepower output marginally. This significantly expanded Bronco sold like hotcakes, with Ford selling 77,917 Broncos in 1978 and 104,038 Broncos in 1979. 1980 to 1986 Ford Bronco, taking shape. In 1984, the third-generation Bronco was introduced. Guess what? Fuel injection was gradually included in the range as well. Following in the footsteps of the second-generation Bronco, the third-generation Bronco derived the majority of its modifications from the F-Series pickup truck series. A 4.9-liter i6 engine was standard, coupled with a manual gearbox, while a 5.8-liter Windsor V8 and a 351 M38 were also available. While it did not attain the same peak of good sales as its predecessor, the Mk3 Bronco performed well. From 1980 through 1985, sales averaged approximately 40,000 units each year, reaching 54,000 in 1985 and ending with 62,127 units sold in 1986. 1984 to 1990 Ford Bronco II is a complement, not a replacement. Throughout the 1980s, Ford had a bad way of attaching "II" to the end of a name. The Bronco II was never intended to be a successor for its larger brother. The Bronco II is derived straight from the lower Ranger pickup and carries proportions similar to the first-generation Bronco, which was designed to contend with a new brand of vehicles. Four-wheel drive was once again standard, while rear-wheel drive was introduced in 1986. The Bronco II is designed to compete with a new kind of utility vehicle. The vehicle's appearance and body sections were inspired by the Ford Ranger truck. It was believed that the Bronco II was removed to make a good path for the Ford Explorer, but not before it was troubled by safety-related concerns. A turbodiesel was formerly available, but it wasn't that good, so most people ignored it. 1987 and 1991 Bronco. Some new stuff, just nothing crazy. In 1986, the fourth-generation Ford Bronco went into production with different types of improvements. The new Bronco wore the same styling as the 8th-generation F-150. It's a touch sleeker now, with aerodynamic modifications aimed at increasing economy. The inside was also remodeled, although not for fuel efficiency. We know you guys just prefer going with new things. There were also some new technological enhancements. Push-button controls for the four-wheel drive system were introduced for the fourth-generation model, and fuel injection was added to both the standard 4.9-liter i6 and the high-output 5.8-liter V8 engines. 5-speed manual transmissions replaced the previous 4-speed configuration, while the optional automatic gearbox got an additional forward gear. Sales were cool at first, averaging about 43,000 units per year until a peak of 69,470 in 1989. That number fell to about 55,000 the following year, with just 25,001 Broncos leaving the factory in 1991. But from 1992 to 1996, the story changed. Here it is. It's the 1992-1996 Ford Bronco. The juice is loose. For the 1992 model year, Ford produced the last Bronco. Aerodynamic improvements were made, as well as keyless entry and leather seats. In 1994, the Bronco also got a variety of safety upgrades, including a standard driver airbag. The detachable hardtop was also removed because it was linked to the rear seat belts and the center-mounted brake light. Now, here's the interesting part. The Ford Bronco Reborn 4x4 Legend. The new Bronco 4x4 Legend is 3 vehicles in one. Yeah, you heard that. The two-door Bronco comes standard with a GetRag 7-speed manual gearbox. The basic engine is the same 2.3-liter EcoBoost turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that powers the Ranger. It produces 270 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. The two-door midsize SUV, which is exclusively available in 4-wheel drive, is Ford's Halo version of the Bronco. An optional 2.7-liter V6 EcoBoost engine with 330 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque is available. The Bronco is now offered as a 4-door for the first time. It has a larger wheelbase and the same engine choices. With these two possibilities, it's evident that Ford has the Jeep Wrangler in its sights, which sold 228,000 extremely lucrative cars in 2019. The Ford engines have greater power and torque, but the Wrangler's optional diesel engine is the most powerful and economical of the four. The Bronco wins on ground clearance with the 35-inch tires included in the Sasquatch package, but the Jeep has somewhat better approach and departure angles. The breakover angle is comparable between the two vehicles. The Bronco can wade up to 33 inches in water, but the Wrangler can only go to 30 inches. Which off-roader is the best? Have you driven the car? And although the Bronco seems to be a decent buy in the picture, well, we have to wait and see. The Ford Bronco Sport. Do you know there is also a Bronco Sport? Yeah, there is. This is a tiny SUV that can be used as a commuter, but also allows its owners to go wild with it. But not as far as the midsize Bronco. The Bronco Sport can also be classified as the new Ford Escape, which was engineered to prioritize street performance. The Bronco Sport, which is only available as a 4-door with a 1.5 or 2-liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine, looks tough. And according to Ford, it is surprisingly good off-road. They put it through rigorous testing alongside its bigger brothers in harsh conditions. While the Bronco Sport won't go anywhere the larger Bronco would, the Bronco Sport is the most recent variant of the 4x4. But it should let families go to their favorite out-of-the-way camping area or fishing hole with ease. Its price tag. Although price for the majority of models has yet to be disclosed, Ford has said that the basic two-door Bronco will start at $29,995. This includes the $1,495 destination fee, which is around $200 higher than the current price of a base two-door Wrangler Sport. Once it's ready for test drives, we'll let you know how it performs in real life. What do you think about this whole generation-to-generation process? We know quite well that you would want to drive this amazing car. Well, if you are a fan of the Ford Bronco, do us a favor to show some love in the comment section. See you in the next video.